Okay, beautiful, Ashmi. Welcome to the Abundance Club. I am so incredibly delighted to have you here.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so excited. I already feel your beautiful heart, and I'm already, yeah, just tuning into the energy.
This is really exciting for me, and we were just saying before coming online that we're open to whatever wants to come through. But I think for me, I've been following your work for a while on Instagram. Like you popped up on my Instagram. This was some time ago, but what I really noticed is the potency and the realness of what you share that just feels like a transmission from your soul, and it really it spoke to me, and I know it does for many, in a way that not many voices do. Like there's a real clarity and a depth in your channel that I think penetrates deeper than most. That's what I feel. So I kind of want to start with, where do you feel that came from? When did you really start to tap into that and become a channel for the wise voice that clearly comes straight through from your soul? So do you want to take us into that
Yeah.
story?
Oh, that's very sweet, and thank you for feeling me. I didn't even know what channeling was about 8 years ago or even 7 years ago. So it wasn't even in my awareness. But I've always loved writing. I started journaling at a young age. And even though I'd write about my little childish problems, feeling angry at my sister or whatever, there would be this wisdom that comes through at the end of the post. And I always felt like this journaling is more than just writing to me. It's kind of therapeutic. And as I got sucked into school and career, my early career, I stopped journaling. So I kind of lost that thread. And I was in Silicon Valley working at the front lines of this very huge booming social media revolution. I was working at Facebook and different startups after that, and I got really burnt out to the point where every morning I had heart palpitations and just so much anxiety and stress and working crazy hours. And that's when I got the wake up call from my soul to actually reevaluate everything I was chasing in my life and slow down. And that's when I started journaling again. Late at night after work when I was exhausted, but I had no other space for me, it felt like. And that was me reclaiming that time for myself. And the words came, but at first it was really rusty. It felt really clunky. It felt cheesy. It was definitely not flowing.
Mm.
But I trusted how open my heart felt when I was writing. There was something in that energy. I felt more me. And so I just wanted to keep exploring that. And the more I did, the more I heard this voice of my soul coming through in quiet whispers, sometimes just a sentence in the shower or right before bed. I feel like we all have this. It's just that most people override it with their mind, thinking, oh, that's just my brain, or, I'm not doing anything special. But I took that as, okay, this is the voice of my soul. I'm going to start trying to listen to the nudges and record what's coming through. And the more I journaled, the more it flowed. And over time, I learned how to trust that voice over the voice of my mind and my fears. And that's how it got stronger.
Mm, that's so beautiful. It's such a great reminder too. I mean, there's so many different ways. Obviously, for you with that, automatic writing is such a powerful way to start to tap into that. And I love that you said, like we all have access to this. I mean, this is who we are. And when you start to develop it in one way, it then comes through in the other way. So where did you find that then developed from? Do you find now you still keep up that writing, or it feels like it's just more of a transmission that comes through? I mean, I've been in one of your ceremonies before, and it's clear that it just comes through in a very clear, coherent channel. And is that what you feel developed from those different practices, that now it's more of who you are inherently in how you
Yeah, it's
share?
really beautiful to reflect because only, 3 or 4 years ago, I was envious of people who could channel out loud or have answers come through from their guides. And I was like, oh my gosh, if only I could do that. I would give anything just to have that. It felt like this pinnacle, of connection to spirit and, yeah, clarity that I really yearned for. And what I really want to say is we all have that connection. And like you say, it takes time to start trusting it. So whatever avenue feels best for you, like some people sing and that's when the words come, improvised, or some people do art and painting and
Mhm.
that's how they translate their kind of downloads or visions into form. For me, it was mostly writing. I'm also an artist, so I would paint, and that was my other way of playing with bringing these, the frequency or energy I could feel, this excitement that I would just tune into and bring it into this physical form through a painting. So the more I played with it, the more I started to feel the excitement of it and the momentum behind it. My writing went from, I think I used to post on Instagram once a week or less because I had so much paralyzing doubts and imposter syndrome and what's the point and no one's going to read it and yeah, vulnerability around that. And it started off just in my journal writing for myself, but there was a part of me that felt called to actually share it with the world, not because I have to or because this is my purpose, quote unquote, but because there was this excitement of sharing that felt like this is also me, this is my expression. And I started seeing Instagram as a canvas, like an art,
Mm.
like my grid is
Mm.
my expression of my soul. And I didn't really do it for much of the external validation, although I'm sure that was there too. It was mostly for my own joy and how I felt in doing it that allowed me to keep showing up even when I got negative comments or even when I got crickets. I think without that internal spark of joy, or I'm doing this because it makes me feel more me, and that this is the expression my soul wants to explore, because on this path, I'm also learning to move through my fears and my doubts
Yeah.
and trust my voice. So the whole journey felt really destined. And without that, I don't think I would have been able to keep showing up,
Mm.
consistently.
And
And
thank goodness that you have. Like when you think about, like, as I know that I've personally benefited from that, as I'm sure so many have all around the world. And it really, when you look at it from that perspective, it's like it's such a disservice if you don't say yes to the calling that's there, right? If you do hold back because of the voices in our head that's saying, "Who am I to do this?" And when you realize that that vision and that dream is so much bigger than you because you are here to serve in that way. And that's really felt. So just wanted to say that. Thank goodness that you said yes to
well,
that calling. Such a good reminder for people as well when you feel that. You speak of having this intention that you said earlier on in your journey, like show me the power of my heart and I will teach the world, which I just think is so beautiful. And there's also so much power in a declaration like that. I can relate myself to saying something similar. It feels like a lot of your work is really bringing people back into the resonance of their heart and into the power of their heart. So, how has your understanding of the heart's power transformed since making that beautiful declaration?
wow. I didn't even know the beginning of the power of the heart when I made that declaration, but I knew the potential. And I also felt, yeah, maybe that came through for a reason then. But since I've been really seeing the difference between where I am now and where I was then, like back then, my heart was so closed, so guarded and shielded from whatever it is, childhood wounds or lifetimes of pain and wounding, heartbreaks. I didn't even know what it felt like really to feel my heart or to live from my heart or to tap into the energy of my heart. Yeah, but there was a whisper there of there's something here for you and explore that. And that's why I set that declaration. But when I moved from California to Australia, that's a whole nother story, but I started doing these ceremonies, cacao ceremonies, with just a group of friends I made in Australia, my first two friends in Australia. We just did it for girls' night, just our own fun way to connect. And in these ceremonies, it wasn't even about drinking the cacao, because cacao can be a heart opener. It was more so that permission to drop into my heart. And we did these guided meditations where yeah, I just started feeling this warmth in my chest spreading out and this love. And then we entered a new frequency, or it felt like we entered a new dimension where we were all more present and more grounded in our hearts. We were speaking from our hearts. And that's when different visions and ideas and, yeah, ahas kind of flow through in that moment. And I kept wanting to explore that because I'd never felt that before, this warmth spreading in my chest and this feeling of everything is working out. You know, even if I'm experiencing challenges, I had this trust that it's all coming together and I'm safe and I'm held and I'm where I'm meant to be. And that was almost my lifeline to my soul. Like the heart is your portal to all that you are, to source, to the wisdom within, that knowing and unconditional love. And I started building a relationship with it and getting my nervous system used to feeling safe and held in that place within my heart. And so that frequency became not somewhere I just visited in meditation or ceremony. It became something I could tap into throughout my day, or whenever I felt lost, I would try to remind myself to come back to that. And yeah, it's been a massive life-changing anchor for me.
I love how you said, I mean, a couple of things I've always felt, not always, but it's certainly more recently, say, in connecting people with their souls and connecting with my own soul, that it really feels like soul's chamber in the heart. So I resonate so much with what you're saying. And you also mentioned about like teaching your nervous system to feel safe and held within your heart, and I think that that's so important because we are so we are brought up in this paradigm that really values, overvalues, and overemphasizes the intellect of the mind. So we are moving through this time that you speak of, and I do as well, of global awakening. So why do you feel like now this calling, like it's so important for us to know and remember the power of our own heart coherence, and how can we, particularly for those who are used to occupying being in more of the mind that's wanting to control, or it's so easy for the fear to take over, how can we start to return to the heart? Like, how do we start to develop more of that relationship and coherence, particularly for someone who is newer to that pathway?
It's such a huge topic. I feel like the whole world is going through this massive shift in consciousness, and not only consciousness, but I call it ascension of the mind, body, and soul. It's not just your mind that's changing or you're expanding in new ideas. It's your entire body is going through an upgrade. And we're seeing how much lack and scarcity and fear and control and overthinking we have been programmed into, that we have perpetuated over lifetimes of living in fear and this survival matrix, this primal, primitive fear that something's going to go wrong, or I need to protect, I need to control. And yeah, it is rooted in the mind, but also in our cells, reinforced after so many generations passing it down and lifetimes that we're living simultaneously. And I have it too. I come from a very analytical, intellectual background. I really rely on my mind to navigate my life. And actually, it's served me so well because a lot of my achievements, have been thanks to the way I can control my life and plan my life and think about what I want, right? So it's not about making this way or this mind our enemy or feeling bad that you're still stuck in the mind. I mean, everyone is. 99.9% of the world is. And yeah, it's not about making yourself feel bad or guilty when you notice that. But this awareness is coming in of maybe there's a new way of being. And maybe we don't have to live from this density, this frequency of lack and fear. Even when you think you're being positive and surrendering, there's still a little wobble there. There's still this deeply rooted fear and lack underneath. And I'm really noticing it in my root and in the way I operate. I thought I did most of my healing and life was very harmonious. And I felt pretty surrendered when challenges came up in my life. But then I became a mother and, and
A whole
everything
new
went
level.
upside down.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had brand new fears about my son's health and well being. We had a big health scare in the beginning. Just all this love and expansion of my heart showed me so much more fear and wanting to make sure he's okay and protect and control. But there's so much I cannot control, right? So it initiated me into a new level of seeing that, yeah, it's easy to find that harmony and peace within when life is cushy and you have all this space and you're not sleep deprived. But wait till you go into chaos and challenge and unexpected sadness and grief and suffering and all this. And I've been through the ringer the last 8 months. That's when you will be initiated into your shadow. And for me, the shadow is all the wounding, suppressed emotions, traumas, fears, and this programming that is rooted in lack and scarcity and limitation and not enough. That has been with us for lifetimes. And right now, a lot of people might be feeling, when they're feeling good, they're feeling better than ever before, but when they're feeling bad, you're feeling worse than ever before. And the reason is you're no longer just clearing your inner child wounds. You're not just feeling the emotions triggered in that moment. We've done that work. It's now initiating you into feeling the energy, the emotions, wounds of lifetimes, including the collective. So when something comes up that triggers you, you might be feeling the root, the core of that energy that you hold in your body, the deepest anger, grief underneath that anger, not only from you, but you might see that grief echoed in your mom or your dad or your lineage. This is what I feel I've been really feeling and clearing, and it's not easy because the more light that you anchor, the more you will see the depths of your shadow.
Yeah.
And as you realize you are one, you are the consciousness, you are everything. You're not just this you in this body and name. You start tapping into lifetimes of that shadow. And it feels so massive to hold.
It's such big work, right? It is such big work that we signed up for to come in at this time. And you mentioned something around lifetimes that we are living simultaneously. Can you expand on that?
I love this, going deep. So there is no time. We see time as humans, and our brain organizes everything happening linearly, past, present, and future. But as we expand into the knowing that you are everything, you are the quantum field, everything exists now, infinite potentials exist now. All your past lives are actually simultaneous lives happening now. And it's so much bigger than what the human mind can understand. Every decision you make, there is another version of you that is living the opposite and all the other, potentials in between. And I guess as source, we wanted to experience it all, and we wanted to experience all that we could be, the light and the shadow. And I talk about in my book how you can navigate this reality and the quantum nature of this reality, how you navigate different realities by shifting your frequency. And this is such a fascinating topic to me. I've started playing around with it more in my life, in my daily life, and really seeing how the nature of this reality works in terms of you being the quantum antenna or the beacon, and how you magnetize to yourself from your frequency what you are calling forth. So yeah, we can go into that.
I mean, I love this as well, which is why I asked the question, and I think it's so beautiful. Now, you touched on your new book. So your new book is called Anchoring the Light. I bought the book myself. I pre-ordered it. I don't have it yet, but I pre-ordered it within like a second. of seeing it. And it was
Oh,
just,
thank you.
it to me, it was just this pure knowing. And I don't always get that, but it was like, there's no thought needed, right? And I was drawn to the title. I was just, everything about it just spoke to me when I saw it. So, and I think also because so many of us feel this inherent calling to anchor the light. And so feel free to share what inspired that and what does it really mean to anchor the new earth within ourselves and why this is so important for humanity right now.
Oh, wow. Thank you for ordering the book. I feel like you felt the energy of it, and that's because it is a living transmission of energy, and it is the frequency of this new earth or new way of being, the new blueprint that we're all yearning to feel and trust and know is possible. And actually, how do we do it? How do we live from that place of knowing you are everything, you are source? How do we actually anchor the new earth in physical form? And these were the questions that sparked or inspired my journey to writing the book. So I actually channeled the book in spoken word channelings. I recorded myself speaking on the phone. So I didn't really write it the way you think you would on a laptop. And this is why I really feel like I reached into maybe the future version of myself or source and brought down the frequency that I was myself wanting to embody and feel and trust.
You mentioned like you are everything. Like I had this something that I channeled through really, really clearly that kept coming to me when I went to a retreat in LA a few months ago and did some deep work and I've heard you speak to that. Can you go deeper into that and what that means
Yep.
for you?
And I also remembered you asked, how do we actually anchor the light? So I'll answer that too.
Mm.
We're going so many places with this, so it's very exciting. So, we've heard this before in the spiritual circles. You are the universe, trust the universe, you are everything. But we don't really know what it feels like to truly believe that in our bones. Because if you were to really know that without any doubt, the way you live, think, and create in this world would be completely different. And I believe we're all the ones, listening to this especially, are on this journey of remembering who we are, and not only remembering who you are as a soul, but reclaiming and living as that, living as source in physical form and being that light here on earth. Not ascending into another planet or, going anywhere else, but bringing all that you are here into your waking life and feeling that frequency of oneness and connection to everything. There is no fear in that space. There is no more doubt. There is no more lack. There's no more limitation. You become the quantum creator. You can create anything from your thought. And it sounds crazy. It sounds like, how can I actually do that in this lifetime? But I really believe this is where we're heading and this is what's possible. And I only believe it because I've had glimpses of this frequency, and I'm not saying I've fully mastered this. I'm on the journey, and this is what I share. I share my struggles as well as, the parts that are really hard for me. But I've had experiences where I've glimpsed the new earth, and I can share a story where I'm in Bali right now, and about 5 or 6 years ago, I was here, and I did this tea ceremony with a group of new-ish friends, and we all were in this very meditative, kind of beautiful space of having Chinese tea. Nothing in the tea, nothing spiked, just regular tea. But also this ancient, potent medicine from the earth, I like to think of it as. But as we sat there and sipped the tea, everyone was really in their heart. And there was this shared frequency of calm. And suddenly I felt myself drop into my heart, into the moment. Time felt like it slowed down. I felt my heart opening, and my mind was totally quiet. And back then I was more self-conscious around new people, and I normally think, I need to say something interesting or contribute to the conversation, or I'm in my head, right? But the tension in my head completely evaporated, and I felt this lightness in my forehead and in my heart. And I didn't even need to speak. I was just there enjoying the conversation. And my friend looked at me and he's like, whoa, you're shining. Like, I haven't seen you like this in a long time. And I just felt so me without having to speak or put myself out there. I was just there in that frequency. And everyone else was also shiny in a way. And it felt like, I don't know, we're in a different dimension. That's the only way. Everything felt more vibrant. It wasn't just feeling present, it was another level of that grounded calm, almost like we'd taken a drug, but we hadn't.
Yeah.
And that frequency lasted for many hours as I left that and I said goodbye and I walked through the town, and it was the same chaotic Ubud streets with the motorcycles and the taxi drivers and, you know, all the beautiful chaos of Bali, but also the beautiful nature. And I felt so in my heart, I was smiling at all the strangers and I had amazing interactions, and I had this delicious lunch I always order, but the food, it just exploded in my mouth. It tasted so different. Like, everything was different. And I realized this is the new earth anchored and birthed through me from within. Yeah. We birth it from within. It's not like the outer world has to shift, but how you feel completely shifts. And then as you hold that frequency, yes, your outer reality will start to shift to match that. And then that's how we bring it out and ripple it out into the whole world shifting. But I got a few hours there where I could actually glimpse how I would feel in that space. And I felt like if everyone in the world could feel this for even 30 seconds, you know, it would change the whole world.
It's so beautiful. And even as you're speaking, you know, and for anyone that's listening to this, like this isn't something that needs to go through the mind. Like it's very much just a felt experience that even if you're not comprehending some of these big things, like the mind can't comprehend it. It's not meant to comprehend it. It experiencing it on that cellular and subconscious level. It's just so powerful. And I felt that when you were speaking, and it's as if you jumped into that future timeline and had that experience of that then. I think, you know, often when we hear about the new earth, we can think of it as this abstract vision. And I know when I initially heard about the new earth, like years ago, I actually thought, like, are we going somewhere? Those of us that are ready, are we going to go up and, you know, leave this earth? And I understand it more from a frequency perspective now, but for people, like, how do we begin to live it now? Like, particularly when we've still got the old paradigm that still feels quite loud and dominant, particularly for people that are still quite anchored into that. And I know that this is a choice. Like, how do you see that, or how do you sense this playing out, I guess, this choice for those who are ready to live in that frequency? You know,
Yep.
do you see it like that as a choice? And for those who are feeling like, you know, I believe that I'm here to anchor into that frequency. And you're obviously a leader of that who signed up and said, you know, I'm a leader of the new earth, and you can feel that. How do we begin to live that in our lives, in our bodies, in our choices? That's a really big question. I'm giving you some big questions here.
I love them. Yeah, no, and it's also a paradox. The answer is always going to go in multidimensional directions. But yes, it's a choice, but it's also an inevitability. It's a journey we're all on. It is happening and it is done. Like we said earlier, there is no time. So there is that version of you already ascended. There is the new earth already here overlaying it. It's just we can't tune into it or feel it yet often from the frequency we're holding, but you're going to feel it more and more. And it is a choice where you get to show up for it and choose it. And in every moment, you have the choice to either react and contract, or expand and remember your heart and come into your heart, or resist and, you know, judge yourself, or hold yourself with more compassion and gentleness and not resist the feelings moving through. And I think there's a big misconception where we feel we need to be in high frequency or high vibe to anchor the new earth. And yes and no. The truth is, first we need to sit with our shadows and allow the emotions wanting to be felt and seen, the triggers, the wounding. Without doing that, without bringing the light into your depths of the shadows, you will not be able to hold that expansive frequency and actually make it a anchored reality. You can't just try to escape what your reality is showing you. And this was really hard for me because being someone who likes to be positive and think positively, and I have rose-colored glasses about life, I always judged myself for whenever I felt low or in a bad mood or whatever came up. And I tried to move through it or heal it or suppress it, something to get out of feeling bad. But what I'm being shown is your daily life is giving you everything you need in order to ascend. So the triggers, the challenges, that annoying client or that email or the stranger on the street, your daily life is giving you exactly what you need to feel and see, to clear and hold space for the energy wanting to move through, the density wanting to be felt and seen, so that it can be alchemized. And we don't really think of it that way. It's like, oh, I have my daily normal life, and then I have my spiritual work, which is my meditation in the evening or whatever, and people keep it separate. But the greatest tool for your ascension is the vehicle of your daily life. And I'm starting to play with this, and my husband as well. We see every moment as a mirror showing you, reflecting to you the frequency you're holding within or what you need to love within you. It's not like you're to blame for anything, negative happening. It's not about that from a place of judgment, blame, or shame. That's more of the human judgment. It's more so, okay, this challenge has come up. What is it triggering me to feel inside? What do I need to love or see within me? And I didn't really get how to do this. I was like, okay, so I have to feel it and see it. I'm already feeling it. I'm feeling bad. So am I doing it? But actually, it's feeling what's underneath that wound. So going deep and meeting it and not resisting the feeling. So often you're feeling it, but hating it and not wanting to feel it. So you have to actually, almost like a meditative practice of breathing into it and saying, you're safe, I can feel you, I love you, seeing the depths of it until you'll have either an aha moment giving you clarity about this wound, or you might just feel the energy shift and it lightens, or you might cry and it comes out. And that's when you actually do the inner work where it alchemizes. One example is I always, the person who triggers me most in my life is my beautiful father. And he's an amazing man. But when he triggers me, it really just irks me so much. And I would judge his quick temper. I would judge his ego. I would judge his need to be right and be seen. I'm like, oh, he's like that. But then one day, and for decades I struggled with this, one day it really triggered me. Something he said really hurt me, and I wanted to teach him a lesson and say something very, high and on my high horse, trying to show him something. And I stopped myself and I was like, okay, if he is me, we are all one, and I put my face on him and that's me, what is his energy trying to show me about myself? And I was like, oh my God, I have that within me. I have this anger and grief underneath the anger. I have this ego and this need to be right. It's just I package it in a cleaner, nicer, more polite way. But underneath, it's like, I like being right. I like being seen as wise. That's why I write. I mean, it's there. And I was like, oh, okay, this is something I need to see in myself. And it gave me more compassion for him and less judgment around, oh, he doesn't get it. It's like, I'm the one who's not getting it yet. And that's why he keeps triggering it in me. Like our souls are doing this dance where he's going to be the exaggerated version of this energy I hold deep within. And same with every other family member and people close to me. And you can kind of start playing with this observation and being the witness whenever anything triggers you in your life.
I think it's so beautiful. Interestingly, my husband and I have been doing a really similar thing in also, seeing it as a gift or doing our best to see it as a gift, like because if each person is that mirror and is there to teach you something, it's all here to help us grow and evolve and shift. I love that you shared that example though, because I feel like so many people can relate to that because there is always someone, it's usually family.
Yeah.
It's usually family. So thank you for sharing that. And I think you shared something today maybe that I saw, or it was a recent post around, it is essentially about predominantly prioritizing our frequency rather than our effort. And this is something that I have been myself adjusting to, coming from having a business that I was probably operating in more of a masculine way for so long, and then since selling it and really understanding the importance of dropping more into my feminine nature and my feminine embodiment, and we can understand this, the importance of like focusing on our energy and our frequency. And as you said, it's not all of this high vibes, but it's being in the practice of it as well and doing that healing work. So this is the new blueprint that you speak of, that our soul is wanting to anchor. And I just want to speak to the fact that it's a really big adjustment. It's such a big paradigm shift for many who have spent much of their life believing that the hard work and the doing are the ways to create results. So can you touch a little bit on that
Mm.
about, how we can begin to allow for that shift? And it is a big shift, but when we do it, we just see and feel the way that life shifts in response in accordance with that in such a more powerful way. And I guess this also brings in the conversation about abundance as part of this new earth frequency as well.
I love this question because I'm practicing it and seeing it in my life now, but still I have doubts. Is it really true that if I let go and I trust and I prioritize my energy and my alignment, things will be magnetized to me and I don't have to try so hard and spin my wheels? It feels monumental to actually do that. And it feels like you're letting go of the steering wheel that you've,
Yeah.
driven so well your whole life. You've been doing this, you know how to do this and how to achieve results through overthinking or planning and exerting effort. How can I just let go, right? Like, what's going to catch me? I'm going to just crash. And even around the manifesting work, there's a lot of misconceptions around you need to do all this effort to envision what you want and do these affirmations and tune into it every day before bed. And
Yeah.
we're actually shifting out of that. The world is ready for a new blueprint. And it's coming from this knowing, again, that if you are source, you are everything. This reality is your creation. This reality, including the detours, the challenges, are all your soul's creation to help you into your highest expansion. If it is happening for you, without a shadow of a doubt, then would you need to do anything to control? Would you worry? Would you fear? If everything is happening perfectly and your wildest dreams are on their way and they exist now, then how would you feel?
Mm.
And how would you show up in your life now if you knew that? And how would you act? And that is this new frequency we're being invited to play with. It's already done.
Yeah.
And what if it's already done? Or what if I am a powerful creator of my reality? I can call forth what I want. I can declare it and claim it without needing to do all this extra work around pulling it in. And what
Yeah.
I believe is when you are, and it's normal to drop back into, oh, it's not happening. Okay, I need to do something to pull it in. When you're in that frequency, you're holding this belief that it won't come in unless I pull it in or unless I think about what I need to do or the 10 steps I still need to do. So you're in that reality, and that's the reality that will be mirrored back to you, proving your belief that you have to pull it in. So how will you know that it's safe to leave that unless you actually try and experiment with this, right? You won't see evidence of it until you kind of are willing to take the leap of faith and ask your universe as the universe as source, okay, this is what I want, bring it in. And a small, silly example is I have been scheduling podcast interviews to do around my book launch. And I felt really in my head about it and overwhelmed. There's so many podcasts, and it's like I have to research which ones are most aligned. And then I have to do all this, specific pitching. And what if they don't even respond? It's going to be a waste of time or all that. And I could feel the density of the energy behind that. And it felt so heavy and tiring. And I don't really want to spend all this time chasing, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to play with something else. I'm going to tell my universe, this is how I want to feel around beautiful conversations coming in. And it feels so amazing. This person reached out to me and they're perfectly aligned. And we're having this beautiful conversation, just like you came to me, Amy. And how good it feels to have whatever is meant to be come in. And I trust that whatever is not meant to come in won't. So let me just put that out there. And then I just let it go and I stop thinking about it for a bit. And I wake up to your email and a DM from someone who I otherwise wouldn't have even heard of. But they have an amazing aligned podcast. And yeah, they just came in. And this is also how I manifested Hay House as the publisher of my book. So that's magnetism. That is creating from your frequency, your readiness and openness to receive. Of course, you need to do a little bit of clearing around any fears or doubts that might be blocking you, but not so much. I feel like if you have that little excitement and this opening and you hold it, and then you let it go without really attaching to the outcome or overthinking, you'll be surprised what can come in. Yeah.
And that doesn't surprise me at all because I see you as someone that is so aligned with their soul, right? And if we're doing that work where we're coming into that soul recognition, that soul alignment, that soul leadership, then it's all taken care of, right? Then it already is, right? We're just lining up with the path that we've chosen. So it was really interesting what you said though, because I sat down last night and I hopped into bed and I thought, you know what? I should do like, is the should. I should do like a scripting practice. I haven't done this for a while. I haven't really been doing my manifestation practices. I should do this. And I got out my notebook and I just got in really clearly. You don't need to do it, right? Like you don't need to do it. And it is that real tug of war of feeling like I need to manifest, but then that in itself is then putting yourself into a place where you're not fully trusting that it's done, right?
Exactly. Yep.
If you're trusting that it's done and you know that it's done, would you do that practice? Right. And I think that there's a little bit of that initially, but once we're really clear on that, and you spoke about in that post you did as well about like once you declare that and you're clear on that, and as you said, clear any of those limiting beliefs that you might feel that are kind of prominent, not like you're digging for it, but if they're there and you're meeting that, once you do that, then it's really just anchoring that frequency of trust and certainty. And I love that example that you gave. How did that work out for Hay House for you?
Yeah. There was this time, I think 2 years ago, where it was winter in Australia, the start of winter, and usually everyone kind of hibernates a bit more. In Denmark, Western Australia, it's a bit cold and rainy. So I felt this sense that I have space for a new project and I have this excitement for a new project. It's not just my mind wanting to create something, but also feeling like, oh, it's going to be hard. It was this actual excitement. I really want to dedicate myself to something. And then that same day, I had this fleeting thought randomly throughout the day. It's not out of the realm of possibility that a really aligned publisher finds my writing on social media and reaches out. Like before, I thought, no one's going to want to publish me. Like it's going to be a lot of hard work to pitch traditional publishers. there's no way they're going to actually approach me. Like that's just, feels unbelievable. But then I thought to myself that day, I was like, actually, it's not a weird or out of the realm of possibility for that to happen. Like there could be a really aligned person who already likes my writing, who finds me, right? And I just let it go. I barely noticed that thought. But the crazy thing was 12 hours later, I wake up to an email and a DM from an editor at Hay House asking if I want to work with them on my next book. I was like, oh my God, I had full body goosebumps because I thought about this 12 hours ago. And that was my clear sign. Okay, this is a synchronicity. You need to follow this. Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty instant manifestation, isn't it?
And that's the way it will become. It will get
Yeah.
faster and faster, the less resistance and doubts you hold. So let's say if you hold more doubts or fears around it happening or whether it can happen, it's not going to be as instant because, to be honest, probably 1 or 2 years ago, I had that desire for an aligned publisher to find me, but I still had a bit more doubts and fears around my ability or my capacity, whatever it was, even the timing in my life. And so it didn't manifest. This is why manifestation can sometimes feel like it takes forever. But then when it comes in, that's magnetism and it is instant. So it can be both. It's just, is your frequency ready and aligned with that reality that already exists? And then it's a match and it comes in.
Yeah, and collapses time. And that's coming back to that conversation around and can you hold that frequency? And how did you go about then clearing those doubts and limitations between those two times?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do it on purpose to manifest a publisher or anything. It was just the natural byproduct of me continuously showing up, sharing my writing. And then anytime I would feel that contraction or, I don't feel safe being seen, I get a negative comment, I would feel all the emotions triggered by that. And I would sit with that and feel it and love myself through it and face it again and again, right? And this is why I say, like, your daily life, everything that happens in your life is perfectly preparing you for what's next. So trust the process of your life, including all the things you don't want to experience. And I think the more I cleared my fear of being seen, this is when my Instagram started exploding in just a short amount of time organically. And it was a direct result of me doing that inner child healing or, clearing of the wounding around fear around being misunderstood, and people thinking I'm crazy, filtering and dimming my light. And no longer being afraid, to shine and share my voice in that way. What I'm being shown now, though, is I've cultivated this safe space. I actually do feel very safe being my full self on Instagram to a degree. I think I can show up more with more videos in my face and maybe live channeling, stuff like that. But to a degree, I feel safe in my Instagram community. But I was shown that this book launch is me coming out of the closet to the wider world because this book is on Amazon and it's everywhere, and it's going to initiate me into a new level of being seen, which is terrifying for me. And there's still things I need to walk through, and I'm feeling like this is the process I'm in now, and between now and when this book is published, which is when this podcast will air, I will have walked through it. And I'm also trusting that whatever I need to experience or feel to move through this wounding and fear will come into my life simply as a byproduct of me doing my life. So I don't need to seek it. I don't need to try to heal it from too much effort. It's just anytime I am triggered and I feel this imposter syndrome or whatever it is, I'm going to feel it and look at it and be compassionate with myself and go into the depths of it, because I'm asking my universe, okay, bring it on, like show me what I need to feel so that we can clear this.
It's so beautiful. I mean, it just shows the level of trust and the relationship that you have with who you are, with your soul, with everything that you are. And I think it's such a beautiful reminder, particularly we can tend to look for the blocks or think that we've got to keep doing the work. And I think that that can keep us kind of stuck in the old ways and the old identity and the old paradigm as well. And as you're saying, like it's really trusting in what is showing up. Like the universe loves us so much and is going to show that. And the more that we can be in communion with our body and meet our triggers and allow our feelings, that's really the power portals. I think that's just so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that because that's really, really powerful. Um, this is the Abundance Club, and you speak about abundance as part of this new earth frequency. And I think, it's such a powerful shift when we can understand abundance as not something that we are attaining, but as who we are. So
Mm.
how does our experience of abundance shift when we see it and embody it through this lens of, again, being that energetic frequency rather than form? How do you, what's your feeling
Mm.
with that?
Yeah, it's actually not really about anything outside of you. Like you say, it is you, it is your frequency because you are a source, and source is abundance, source is everything. You are more infinite than your wildest capacity to imagine, and how can we actually tune into that and trust that though and feel that when you're like, your brain is like, but look at all the lack, look at my bills, look at my bank account, right? And look at how things aren't coming in. You're noticing all the ways it's not working out. And so, of course, you feel limited, you feel small, because this is the story and truth that your reality keeps showing you. And all of society is buying into it as well. So we have this collective programming around lack and limitation and not enough, that
Mm.
and scarcity, that makes you feel like you need to keep chasing and you need to keep worrying about, yeah, how you're going to ever have enough. So you're going against the whole tide of the entire world when you're trying to tune into true abundance. So just acknowledging that is a monumental feat, to even imagine what it might be like. And for me, abundance is knowing you are everything and you are connected to this quantum field. You are this quantum field, and all these infinite potentials and possibilities exist, and you can call them forth at any moment, right? And the more you trust that, and the more you're willing to open to that, and you can ask yourself, your higher self, your universe, show me who I am, show me my connection. And I do this while walking in nature. I drop into my heart and I ask myself as source, okay, if I am source, I am source, but show me what it feels like to be source. Show me what it feels like to have my light body activated. Show me what it feels like to be connected to it all. And then all of a sudden, the more you really believe you're calling this forth, you will feel your oneness with the nature around you, and everything will become more still or present within and more vibrant. And you will feel this well of, oh, anything's possible kind of come up, this creativity, this flow. And I think our invitation is to play with that and let that feel more real than all the limitations your brain's going to pull you towards when you exit that space. And let that frequency become more and more anchored, again, like we said, in our nervous system or our bodies, getting used to remembering what it feels like to be that expansive and connected. And try to live more from that soul perspective than your human perspective. It's a moment by moment, day by day practice. But the more you do it, you'll see evidence of it coming in. You'll see how it might not be in the form of money right away or a possession or, those things, but it might be how different you feel and how your day flows and a resource comes in or an opportunity or a friend says something that you needed to hear, right? And you're in that total alignment and divine flow with everything. And when you're in that space, how you feel will be better than anything you have ever felt, to the point where you won't even need anything. You're going to be like, if I can bask in this feeling, I will be the happiest person alive. Like, you don't need anything. And at the same time, that's the frequency that brings in everything.
Yeah, the not needing, like the letting go of that, and then all of a sudden you become magnetic to those things. So beautiful. I mean, this is just I could talk to you all day because these conversations are things that I love. I know that my listeners love, and I'm just so grateful for you in so many ways, particularly in the way that you have said yes to your calling. What is one thing that you would want to leave people who feel in some way like you may have done, whenever that was, when you knew that there was something more for you, and for those who are feeling like I don't know what that is, but I feel like I am, this is speaking to me and I am being prepared for something more, what advice would you give to someone like that?
Yeah, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And it's not about what you're supposed to do, or not even about your purpose or what you're supposed to serve or how you're supposed to share. It's becoming more of who you truly are and loving who you truly are and shining a light on your unique quirks and gifts, and yeah, feeling safe and free in this world to be you in your embodied heart and frequency, whatever that looks like for you, because that is the energy that will keep bringing more. That is abundance. That is the overflow of your cup that will ripple out into the rest of your life. So yeah, keep following and asking for the nudges from your soul. Show me. For me, it was the power of my heart, but show me, yeah, more of what I love. Show me my excitement. Show me my joy. Show me my truth, whatever it is for you. And trust the little nudges, even if it feels so insignificant. Like for me, it was like, start writing in a journal. I'm like, no one's going to read that. So why should I do that? Or
Mm.
start a little blog, like no one's going to read it. But it's not even about what you do. It's who you become as you do it and show up, because you will have to face your fears as you show up. You will have to, yeah, move through whatever blocks or limitations are there for you to see. And that is also the journey, bringing you more of who you are on the other side.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. Tell us about your book, how people can find it, how people can follow your work in you know in all ways and connect with you.
Yeah, my book is called Anchoring the Light, The New Earth Way of Living, Creating, and Becoming All That You Are. It's available on Amazon, Target, Barnes& Noble, all major retailers, depending on your country. And you can go to my website for more info. So it's ashmipatela.com. I'm sure it'll be in the description below. And if you want to read my channelings and my writing, you can go to Instagram at ashmi.path. That's where I'll share, yeah, writing as well as online ceremonies and activations. I feel like I'm going through a rebirth myself, and I have no idea what's coming in the next
Mm.
year, but I'm really surrendering and trying not to plan too much, and open to, yeah, bring forward whatever is flowing through me and whatever excites me. And for me, this journey is really about sharing from my frequency of where I am now. So as I shift, as I
Mm.
embody more of my light, my writing, the frequency behind that will shift, and my offerings will shift. So it's not really that I share one thing, it's just I share this journey, and all of you are walking alongside me. So yeah, thank you for being there.
It's so beautiful. I just reminded of, like, we're all here walking each other's home,
Yeah.
and I think, this book feels like a living transmission, as you said. And I've only really got one other book like that, that just, it feels like even just having the book, having it near you, having it next to your bed is going to be really powerful. And I'm not sure if you felt that yourself. I'm sure you have in some way, that the power of that. So yeah, guys, it's one to get your hands on, and I can't wait to receive my copy. And it's just been so, so wonderful. So make sure you do reach out and order the book. Thank you so much, Ashmi. This has just been such a delightful conversation. I have loved every single second of it. And I also love hearing your little birds where you are in Bali in the background. It's so
Yep.
divine. I love that you're
Aw.
doing this from Bali.
The Bali frequency.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. The way you really see into my soul, and I'm sure so many others, you have this really beautiful depth to you, and you can feel others for their truth and their soul and who they really are underneath the words. And I really felt that through the questions you asked and your insights as well. So you're doing what you're meant to be doing. And yeah, thank you for being you in this world as well.
No, thank you. I receive that gratefully. Thank you, my darling.